but you gotta hit me up. Your ad could be right here. But back to the show. Definitely going to watch it.
Yeah.
I'm definitely
Yeah.
going to watch it. Well, welcome back. You are not a stranger. This is
Hey,
She Gets a
I
Podcast where we
know,
have our
right?
family, Eruth, here. Okay, she is here in the flesh, but you guys can't see her, only me.
Hey,
So,
hey.
we are going to continue this discussion
Yeah.
on abortion and the things around abortion and why it's just the epitome of let's fix this first so everything else can be fixed.
Yeah.
So where do we go? Where do we go from here?
Yeah. I mean, I know the last time when we ended, we were listening to women share their experiences. And that
Right.
was really eye opening to just hear it from people now versus the
Mm-hmm.
people that I've listened to in the past that have talked about their experiences with abortion. So
Mm-hmm.
I was real curious to kind of dig into that, like the after effects, what happens afterwards, what happens to the mind afterwards too, because I think a lot of people don't think about that. They don't talk to you about that.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I got pregnant with my oldest daughter. I remember when I went to go to get the test to see if I was pregnant, and the first question the lady asked me, I'll never forget this. She said, do you want to keep it? And I was like, yeah, but why
That's
would you
so
ask
much
me that
pressure
first?
because I'm really not here because that's an option for me. So why would you,
Right. Yeah, it was the first
girl?
question. I know it was so just strange. And I was like 19 at the time. So like even for me at that age, I knew that that's something. Why she asked me that first? Like, why
Yeah.
would you not ask me about, do you have a doctor? Or do you know of a doctor? Something to help me get prepared for the fact that I'm
Mm-hmm.
pregnant. It was
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah. When I found out I was pregnant with Ari, I had told her
Mm-hmm.
dad, and her dad and I had been like friends since well, more than friends, but
Yeah.
we've known each other for like 15 plus years. So, and
Wow.
I've
Yeah.
always told him throughout the process of us just being around each other and dealing with each other. I said, if that ever came to be a possibility, I'm not like your girlfriend. Like I don't believe in abortion. I'm not saying women shouldn't do it. I'm just saying
Yeah.
I don't feel like that's for me.
Yeah.
So just know that. And he was like, okay, girl, it came up. Something was wrong with his truck. He couldn't
Oh
drive it or
no.
whatever. I was like, shit, I do not want to have to tell him this over text. And I was like, he was like, man, he was like, I was on my way there and the truck was messing up. He was like, but I'll try to see if I could come by sometime this week. I was like,
Hmm.
I said, I need to talk to you. He was like, what is it? He was like, just tell me.
Yeah.
Girl, them three dots. Them three dots. Them three dots is moving. I said, oh my God. I said, and I was like, fuck it. I just sent him the picture and he was like, I saw the three dots moving and nothing. And I saw the
Oh
three
my
dots moving and
gosh.
nothing. And then I was like, this is why I'm like moody and I have a
Yeah.
headache. I never get headaches. And he's like, fuck, fuck. He just thought
Oh,
like he was like,
on the
man,
text?
yes. He
Yeah.
was like,
Oh my
he was like, I
gosh.
can't. He was like, I can't. This cannot be like right now. I was like, well, it is right now. He was like, man, I can't. We can't have no baby right now. I'm just like, sir, this is not a
Yeah.
decision. The decision is already
Yeah.
made. So he went through
Yeah.
like he literally went through most of my pregnancy depressed
Oh my gosh.
because he is close. Well, he's 40 now or 41, and he has a 16-year-old daughter,
Mm,
and his girlfriend has a son that's like 19. He just went to college, but he helped raise him, and so to him, it's like I gotta go back, and
yeah.
um, and he spent the bulk of us having a relationship that we shouldn't have had, um, hiding it. But since I've been
Oh,
in
from like everybody else?
everybody on my side knew. His
Okay.
mom knew, his cousin knew, his friends knew. the little
Yeah.
friends that he does have knew. But for her, it was kind of like, well, if I don't see them together in my face, it's not real. But I've talked to her multiple times about it since
Okay.
college. So she was like, well, as long as they ain't in my face, I don't care, kind of like that. So when
Mm,
it happened, now it was kind of like, now I have to merge all my stuff together. And he didn't like that. So I think
yes.
that was like his internal battle of it. To me, I was like shrugging it because I'm just like, sir, whatever. We all know
Yeah.
what this has been.
Yeah.
This child is just gonna be in the middle of it. And when I tell you, when I was like, I must have been like 3 or 4 months, this girl sat on the phone with me. She called me, sat on the phone with me for an hour, Eruth, and trying to convince me to have an abortion because it was going to hurt her child's feelings. I said,
It was gonna hurt
ma'am,
her what?
her child's feelings. I said, ma'am,
Okay. Okay.
I
Okay.
was like,
Okay.
I have a child of my own. I've gone to college. I'm not in high school. I'm not a baby. I'm not stupid. I work. Um, she was like, well, when I had a baby, it was really hard for me. My mom kicked me out. I said, my mother can't kick me out. I have my own house. She stays here with me. I said, your struggles are not my struggles.
Yes.
So
Right.
she was basically trying to pressure me into having an abortion. And I,
Oh my God.
at first with him, getting it as such a shock, that thought did go through my mind. I'm just like, Chantal, this ain't you. You don't do this.
Yeah.
We're not doing this. So like, let's not even. So it was just so ridiculous. But to me, I feel like abortion is not anyone else's choice. It's that person, that woman's choice,
Yeah.
that
I agree.
girl's choice. It's her body. But at the same time, I don't agree with a whole bunch of men sitting in a room making decisions on women's bodies. I think that's ridiculous. Like,
I agree as well. And I feel it's so strange because there's a part of me that, like, me and Kevin needs to talk about this too. Like, what about the men? Like, what do the men have a decision? What if the man wants to keep it? And I've had male friends who had, there's one guy friend that I have, like, it's it to this day, every
mm-hmm,
time we talk to him, this is something that he remembers, that one of his children, he had a,
mm-hmm,
this girlfriend had aborted at the time in high school.
mm-hmm.
And it's something that even for him as a man, like, he thinks about this like
Yeah.
all the time, and we were talking about, I think it was a case that came up, or a judge was talking about this, or somebody, I don't remember where we heard about it, but someone was talking about what happens to the men who decide that they want to keep the children, and should there be laws put in place to be able to stop women from having abortions when the father wants the child too. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, I mean, it's a complicated situation, because if you're the woman and it's, you don't know exactly, you really do have to make decisions for your life, and the baby is a part of that. And it is hard to say that the man is a part of that if he's not really in that committed type of relationship with you, because we don't know what men are going to do.
Girl,
You
you
know what I
better than
mean?
me. I'm thinking biologically. If you have the ability body wise to carry a baby, I feel like men should have a say. And if a baby gets, a possible child gets to be kept.
Yeah,
If we can
I
go
agree.
into
I do agree.
if we could go into a hospital and get some surgery done so you can take out this egg that's growing and put it in this man because he wants to keep this baby, then let's go
Yeah,
ahead and have a man to have that deciding factor. Because
yeah.
if that was something that could be done, then you would be teeter-tottering on a TI father that wants to make sure that
Mm,
his daughters don't get their periods until they're 21 because he feels like that's when
mm,
he's going to be
mm,
comfortable with them having sex.
mm,
So
mm,
to
mm,
me, I
mm.
think, I mean, if men have an issue with that, take that up with
Yeah,
the creator.
yeah,
That's how he made women's bodies. That's how he made men's bodies.
yeah,
To me, I think men's control in a life that's connected to them starts and ends with their bodies and what they put their bodies into.
yeah.
That's just
Agreed.
what it is, because
Yeah,
women have to carry the burden of possibly dying while carrying a child. possibly
True.
dying in childbirth. Black women die the most in America compared to any other race all over the world.
Yeah.
There are third world countries that have better childbirths and safer childbirths
Yeah.
for women than Black women have in America. And
Yeah.
we
It's really
carry
terrible.
the burden of every month having a new symptom and having to
Yeah.
constantly adjust with our bodies. And men get to be like, I think I want to be here for the first month. Then I don't think I want to be here
Yeah.
for the second and third month. And then I feel like I want to be here for this baby. And I feel like I can still go out and party and drink and eat what I want. You're not taking care of a child as soon as you pee on the stick. A
That's
woman
true, but
is.
I do think it's a possibility for them to put in some kind of criteria, like, I don't know, in a lot of government programs, it's like, in order for you to qualify for this thing, you have to do these things. So like, I feel like if there was, because there's a part of me that feels like a man who does lay down with a woman, if
Mhm,
they do get pregnant and he wants children, I
mhm.
don't think it's fair for him to be in a situation where the girlfriend could be like, I don't want the baby, and now he's like, but I
Then
do.
for your idea, it should be a form that's signed while you're in that committed relationship, that person before y'all fuck.
It should be something, whether it's before, during, something. But if there's a decision or a conversation, if there's a conversation where the decision is that the man says, you know what, I'll raise the baby, give me the baby, I'll
Yeah.
raise the baby. And but it will have to be like, okay, if you're going to do that, then you need to be here for this appointment, that appointment with her. You have to go through
Yeah.
whatever she needs during the pregnancy. You need to take care of her. If she needs some shit to massage her feet with, yep, you got to buy that shit
Because
too. If she
also,
want crab legs, you might
right.
have to buy them crab legs
Come
too.
bring her ice and her chocolates on time
Everything,
every
everything.
day at 5 o'clock. If that
Right.
was the case, then there will be
You
a
don't
law.
mind, do you?
No,
I'm about
there
to
will be
hit
a
that.
law
Okay.
put in place for men to start paying child support as soon as a woman pees on a stick.
Oh, I mean, if that's what I'm saying. See, this is the thing with America, right? You can have, sorry, you can have whatever you want to have, right?
Yeah.
But you're gonna have to give up something.
Yeah.
Y'all want no abortions? Then okay, give us something. You
Yeah.
don't want welfare? Okay, give us something. Then this dude has got to take care of this woman. But then you're
And
gonna have the other argument where dudes be like, well, what if I don't want the baby and she wants the baby? Well, I mean, it's two. So somebody's gonna
yeah.
have to, you can't have that. Nobody, you can't have it where I get to make all the decisions and then you're left out of it. I don't know if it could work that way.
But that's the same way I feel about Republicans. Republicans last year was really gun ho on, this state, abortions are illegal. This state, after this time, abortions are okay, or after this time, abortions are not
Oh yeah, it was
okay,
like what,
right?
8 months or something like that, or
Listen, it's
some shit they was
ridiculous.
doing.
If you could prove that you were raped or it was incest, then okay, we would go
Oh,
ahead and okay your abortion.
oh,
Listen, in Pennsylvania, in order for women to have the government pay for them to have abortions, all they have to say is verbally, this baby was conceived by rape or incest. That's it.
what?
That's
That's
it.
it?
That's it. But every state is not that way, right? And I
Wow.
have a lot of family members that have had abortions. I have a lot of friends that have had abortions. And some of them do regret it to the point where by this time I possibly would have had a child that would be such
Mm,
and such years old. And I don't know what that's like because I waited for the picket fence. I waited for the good
mm,
job. I waited for
yeah,
the good relationship. And now I have all those things and I'm having such a hard time conceiving. Or
yeah.
they did
Have the
everything
guilt.
right. Yeah, they have that guilt. They
Mm,
did everything right. Now their life is perfect to raise a child in a healthy way, and they're having
mm,
issues conceiving with their person. And then they just feel like it's unfair that everybody else gets to have kids that really can't take care of kids, and here I am with this lifestyle and I can. And it's so
mm,
hard for me. It's so hard for me. And that's why I tell people there's no real way to plan for a child.
yeah, yeah.
Because
There's
even
none.
if you have all the money, You have, all the room, the house, everything that you could give a
Mm-hmm.
child. You could pay for college.
Yeah.
Your child could come out with some type of disability, some
Yep.
type of defect. You just
Or
don't
just be
know.
bad as hell. They just be bad as hell.
Listen, and some people do give birth to demons in their life. Let's keep
Girl,
it
say it.
100.
100.
So
We
that
know
is a
them.
possibility. And my thing is like, for Republicans, if you don't want abortions and you want people to go
Yeah.
through it a full pregnancy, even little girls, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Even little girls that were raped by relatives, and you want them to go through and have this child, right? You
Yeah.
can't say once the child comes out, we are not giving you government assistance. We are not helping you for
Mm,
work. We are not making sure you have their schooling, because now you're saying I basically want to up the homelessness, and
yeah.
I want to have people living on the streets, because that's what it's going to be.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. I think that a lot of whenever these conversations come up, sometimes I feel like they're not even really serious, when they're like making the whole thing of the pro-life. Well, let me just say this: 2020 convinced me that is a bunch of bullshit. You know why?
It
Because none
is.
of these motherfuckers want to wear these masks, and I'm like, if you pro-life though,
Hello.
put the mask on. Put the mask on. And all
Hello.
of a sudden now all of a sudden you got rights. Now I honestly cannot wait for them to, if they get this, for this to go to the Supreme Court,
Mhm.
because I can't wait for somebody to bring up the case of the mask. Oh, y'all didn't have no problem with not wearing no mask. You didn't care about transmitting, giving people Rona here, Rona there, Rona, everybody getting Rona. You know what I'm saying? And you talking
Listen,
about it's the science ain't real.
we still have to
That's
convince people to wear condoms with strangers.
girl,
So,
you ain't
with
lying.
that being said, we knew this mask thing was going to be a problem. And I'm so happy that airlines are now saying if you are not masked, you cannot fly. If you do
Oh,
not test for COVID prior to your flight, you're not flying anywhere, which I hope
yes.
that it slows down on people just doing these. I want to go from New York to Miami for $20 round trip flights for no
Mm,
reason, because that's what's happening right now. And
what?
I feel like if the government actually cared about people's health, that would have been nipped in the bud at the beginning. If
Yeah,
you're not a doctor, if you're not in Secret Service, if you are not a part of this U.S. Army or Marines, you are
yeah,
not important. You do
yeah,
not fly. Because I'm not
yeah.
understanding why these people are flying around. And if you are wealthy enough to have your own private jet, do what you do. But not everybody is that way. And I feel like that's why the numbers are growing, because irresponsible people are catching these
Mm-hmm.
cheap flights, and these
Yeah,
airlines are making these flights cheap enough for a lot of people to keep be on their plane. But then you're
yeah,
complaining about the way that people are acting on the planes, and I'm just like, it's a catch 22. You either do want
yeah,
them on here or you don't.
yeah. And that's the thing too, is like I feel like, remember there was a time when people used to be shamed.
Yes.
Like you can shame people and then people be like, damn, you right. I'm gonna get my life together. It
Yeah.
hurt. It
Yeah.
hurt. It cut so deep, right? But then you got your shit together.
These people
Now
have
all
no
this, you
shame.
can't, none whatsoever.
What my grandma said,
None.
you not have no coat. You're too
Yes.
fresh.
You should too fresh. Box our arm out.
Right.
She need a
Right.
lick.
Right.
Like, yes, we had that. We
Yeah.
had that shame. We ain't got no shame in this country. There's nothing. Unless the shame people do have is how they look. You could shame somebody about how they look. And I'm like, that shit don't mean nothing.
Listen,
Nothing.
if I wanna if
Girl.
I wanna screw 5 men within the same day, and I want to complain about the fact that one of them didn't give me $40, a bunch of people will shame me, right? But I can go on Twitter and I can ask
Yes.
a million people's opinions. They'd be like, "Girl, go and get your money, girl. Yeah, he wrong, girl." And be like, "I know. Thank you. I feel
No.
redeemed." I'm just like, "Girl, just because a
No.
million people agree with your ratchet ass
Yes.
doesn't
Let me tell
mean you
you,
are correct."
I cannot deal when people be like, yeah, girl, don't listen to her. No, y'all stop. No, Somebody, y'all stop this. Hey, just because your ass want to do some shit and you want to do the shit and you want to do the shit and you want to do the shit, don't mean y'all ought to get the gang up to do the same shit together.
Yep.
And
That's
people
exactly
don't have, you hear this all the time, right? Don't judge me. And at first I used to be like, why would y'all, my friend used to say this to me every single time, girl, don't judge me though. But let me tell you, this nigga right here, he just picked me up, girl, and just put it on me, girl. I was like, so like after you said hello, like the first, like you just said hi. And he had you on the wall? What?
Or they hit you with we had such a good time that first day that we met. I don't even know why he won't call me back. Because you gave him everything. You gave him everything. Or they hit you with the let me tell you what happened. And then they be like, am I wrong? And then you be like, yes. But how am I wrong? You knew you was wrong. That's why you asked me that.
Exactly. Yeah. You know that second voice come hit you, you be like, motherfucker, did you trying to have me repeat myself?
Right.
God damn it, And this, I was telling Kevin this just today. I was like, you know what? People know they ass be lying.
Yeah. Leaving out a whole part of the story. So you telling me you didn't know his wife was downstairs? So you telling me it's normal for you to go in a car with a stranger, take the drugs that he said is such and such, wake up somewhere where you don't know, and be like, I think I was violated. Yeah. Girl, you were violated by the moment you took your own advice and said, oh yeah, he's safe. You violated yourself.
Yes. You didn't listen to that voice in the back that was like, get your ass out of here. Get your ass up out of here.
I can't.
He was like, but wait, I can't get my ass up out of here because he just made me feel so good. I don't know. He said he loved me. Girl, get your ass up out of here.
I think the bad behavior of adults today, especially in my age range of 30s and 20s, is because we are at a deficit on true grandmothers. Because
tell us about it.
My grandmother did not allow any of us to play anything that was not church music. And even if it was church music, the only thing that was allowed to be jiggling in the house was a tambourine. And she would knock you the hell out, and you weren't allowed to say certain things. And when my grandfather was praying for the cows, the farm, the dirt, the land, the house, the spoon, the fork at the dinner table, and we starving, you better not say nothing.
Yeah.
The last time I went to my aunt's house and my grandfather was praying over dinner, it must have been Christmas or Thanksgiving. Girl, people were talking, people were laughing, and I'm just like, damn, y'all so disrespectful. But that's what it is. Like, there's nobody giving people the standard of show some respect. And everybody's so ready to disrespect everybody for the sake of being on Instagram or being on whatever website to get whatever likes. Whenever a fight breaks out or two women are fighting in the store, pull out your phones. Not let's go ahead and not let this happen. Like, let's be decent people. And I'm just like, damn, I don't want to raise my two daughters to feel like if something happens like that and there's somebody that they know, they're encouraging it.
Yeah.
Like, and if you can't break it up, walk away. Yeah.
It is. It's too much encouraging of like fighting. Like, I really feel like this. I remember like my stepsister, she posts violent stuff all the time. And I get it because in her time she grew up and that's all she was fighting all the time. That's all they did was like fight in the 90s, like all the time. So, but for me, it's like, you know what? For me, I was like, okay, I'm kind of tired of seeing the violence. Like, it's like violent porn I'm watching. And it's just like, I can't keep looking at this and it's just popping up. And then you have people talking about it. And then people are like, oh, did you get that on camera? It's crazy. I saw a dude record himself somebody sent me this. The dude record himself get shot. And he was like, yeah, man, I did it for my homies. Yeah, I'm a real one. No, you're about to die, dude. What you did it for?
And your homies are not going to visit you if you make it to the hospital.
At all. And it's just this thing. So it makes it like, to go back to like just the question of people, this is the talking about this is like the question of, okay, why abortions? To me, I'm neither here or there. I'm like, I'm not against it, I'm not for it, I don't like it, I call it murder.
Mm-hmm.
Do straight up. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, damn, but then look, and then then it, but you know what, you got the point. I'm always
Yeah.
like this,
It's
you know.
circumstances. Like, let's say if, my child is 12 years old and somebody raped her and she's
Yeah,
pregnant. Do I want her to have that baby? No.
yeah,
Do I want her to be pregnant and lose her? Well, she already lost her child essence from the act.
yeah, right,
That was stolen. That's a whole lifetime of work that has to be done. But for her to
yeah,
have a baby that she didn't necessarily want at the time that she has to raise and learn to love, that's a whole nother thing. And even people who
girl,
give their kids away for adoption, like the lady we had on the last episode, she still
mm,
thinks about her every day. And it's so
yes,
it's nice that she can stay in communication, but a lot of people
yeah,
don't want you to be in communication at all.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I don't think men understand the psyche of women
yeah,
trying to fathom, let me go get rid of this baby, as if it's like, oh, I need to go to the doctor tomorrow and get rid of this pimple on my face. It's not a
yeah,
pimple.
yeah,
It's a
it's
whole
not,
possible
yeah,
human being. It could be
yeah,
the person to discover a cure for cancer, all cancer.
yes,
It could be
yes,
our greatest leader that you're getting rid
yeah,
of. But depending
yeah,
on the predicament, I feel like maybe it might be the best thing to do. But for
yeah,
me personally, if I knew that I was in control of my body when I did what you do in order to create a life, and he knew
yeah,
that he was in control of his body and could have said no at any time and could have stopped, could have not showed up, could have not pulled up,
right,
but we
right,
chose to do what we did,
right,
I cannot go against what the creator has for me. And if the
yes,
creator said, you know what, skeet skeet, got you a treat,
yeah,
boom, I'm gonna go do
boom,
my
that's it,
best to
yep,
take care of this child, to take care of
yeah,
myself, and give birth to this baby and give this child a better life than I had. And that is
yeah,
now my job. For men, they just feel like I have no ties to it. I don't understand it. They have this thing where you could go get rid of it, just go do that thing. It's not that easy.
yeah. Yeah, it's not. And you know what else too, also too, like just to that, talking about that human point, that emotional intelligence, to know, like, think deeper enough to say like why I have to start thinking this through so
Hmm.
that I can make the best decision. Because on the other side of it too is, if you do get an abortion, there's still the trauma after that. So you're doing
Yes.
like, it's the trauma of the body. The body gets traumatized,
Yes.
your mind is traumatized. So you have all these three things that are working, that you have to, that as a burden to you now.
Hmm.
And I don't think people think that, like for me, when we did ask this question, I mean, I did consider, I was like, okay, well, I had known people who had had abortions.
Hmm.
And now that the question came to me, I was asking that question to myself, could I do it? Everything went through. I'm like, okay, well, what if I have the abortion now and then I want to have a child later and I can't have one? I can't be in that situation.
A
Okay.
lot of
What
women
if
go
I
through
have an
that.
abortion now and I'm deciding like, okay, well, what happens to my career? Well, maybe I can figure it out. Like maybe I can make it work and get to my career somehow. There's other
Mhm.
ways around it. So I start looking into women's stories who got success, who were successful, who had children, early in their lives. And I was like, they
Mhm.
did it. So maybe I could do it. So I
Mhm.
just started like going through the list of like, what's going to be my end? What is the consequence that I can deal with?
Yes.
Can I deal with the consequence of being a parent and going through the not knowing what to do, there's no handbook, no nothing,
Mhm.
and figuring it out? I can do that. I,
Mhm.
I got here this far. I
Yeah.
got to be able to do it. A
Yeah.
baby came out my body. It was
Yeah.
going to be coming out my body. So I think people don't, and that could be a solution, is that if people want to deal with abortion, maybe have somebody that's there that's going to talk them through this and ask them these questions, not to be forceful, but to be like, here's some questions for you to process through mentally before you make this biological change in your body or
And
whatever.
if they do go through the abortion, there needs to be an agreement at the
Yeah.
beginning before they get the abortion that you are supposed to do 12 months of X, Y, and Z therapy. If you
Yes.
don't, you would have to pay us X, Y, and Z or
Yes.
be on probation. Because what happens is some
Yes.
women may go through something traumatic like that, like an abortion.
Yeah.
And if they wanted it, if they didn't want it, or how it happened, who knows? But when you have a bitter woman that you have to work with every day, is
Yeah.
exhausting. When you have
Yeah.
a mother that's cussing her kids out like some
Oh,
stranger on the street, it's exhausting.
yeah.
When you have a grandmother that despises the fact that you found somebody great in your life and you could have kids with, and she's jealous of you, for real.
Mm,
Some of the times it comes
yeah.
from, I didn't have nobody was there for me. I had this traumatic thing happen to me and I haven't dealt with it. So now
Yeah.
I'm just being mean. I'm being angry in everything that I do. And everybody that
Mm-hmm.
has something that I wish I had, I'm creating like this big bubble of hate. I don't like them
Yeah.
because of this, but you really won't tell us what your real problem is. And we deal
Right.
with people like that every day. Now,
Yes.
when I was in college, I used to say, "Oh, I know that professor right there. She ain't getting no type of dick because
Mm.
she's so
Everybody used to say
like
that.
irritating. Like I felt like
Yeah.
every time she would come to class, her whole goal is to see how can I make these people miserable." And when a lot of times when people are like that, they go to your job,
Yeah.
they come in the
Yeah.
post office, they come in the grocery
Yes.
store, they make the biggest deal out of
Yeah.
something that costs
Everything.
10 cents. It's a bigger
Girl.
issue that they're not dealing
Yes.
with.
Yes. 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 And that's what people don't. I saw tell people all the time at work. I'm like, customers are just people going through life. When they're angry and they
Mm,
go on popping off on you, it ain't you. You
yeah.
got to know it ain't, you just said hello. So don't take it personally, but nobody talks to those people. There's no avenue for a lot of these people. The thing that bothers me the most is when people say things like, oh, she just want attention. Yes, you're right. The person just wants
Everybody wants
attention.
attention, but the type
Yeah,
of attention is what matters.
that's true. But that's what I'm saying. When it's to that point where it's that toxic, where it's like, I must disrupt everything. Think about
Hmm.
the kid in class that was the disruptive kid. That kid was going through some shit at home.
Right.
There was this one little white girl I used to know. I don't remember her name, but this girl used to turn up like she was possessed. And then
Right.
when girl was in kindergarten, I think it was in kindergarten, and I can't remember her name, but she used to just do this thing where she would just like, like have this panic attack, or I don't know what she was having. And this big tall girl walked up to her and gave her the slap of her life.
Some people need
Okay.
that slap.
She shut up. Okay. She sat down, she shut up. And the teacher was like, oh, oh. And we was all like, she be quiet though.
Some
And I
people
ain't
need
see that
that
girl for like
slap.
another 5 years after that. I don't know where she
That slap
went,
be
but
essential.
it used to be essential. So you got people, like you said, you have people who are making decisions like people not recognizing that, yes, you could end up having a child that is like that,
Hmm.
that you can't deal with. And people, that's sort of the bridge we got to cross when we get there. We can't
Hmm.
like look for these perfect lives and think that, we can plan it. But I do think that we have to have a better foundation for people to be able to know, to at least have more information so they can make the best decision
Yeah.
and not
And
feel like,
not
okay,
shame
I
them
did
for the
this and feel
decisions they
shame.
made.
Exactly. Exactly.
Weirdo.
Because it's tough. It's tough. And that's just an American thing though. Like Americans, we don't give a fuck. Okay. We do not care about people. I mean, we do, but we don't.
Yeah.
And that's a hard life to live when you're in a country like that, where, people don't really care about you. And there's all this money in the government, but they want to be able to put it this place, but not the places that they complain about, where they're saying the most crime is and all this poverty and all this other stuff.
Because let me
So for me,
look at Atlanta right now. That place is hot. They are breaking into people's
girl,
cars. They're stealing people's
oh my
cars.
God.
They're stealing people's things.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
but I just feel like when it comes to abortion, it's looked at one sided, and we've come too far to keep pushing it in a one sided manner. So
Yeah.
my thing is like, where's the groups on big sound alarms, or where's the commercial for the little snippets of women who have done an abortion and how they feel? Because I
There,
feel like
yeah,
once men and women start seeing the after effects of possibly doing an abortion, they'll have more compassion for it, and women can
yeah,
really think through, do I possibly want that for me if I do this? Because
yeah,
we could pick it outside of abortion clinics all day.
yeah,
I don't think that's helping. I don't think shaming somebody because it's the Christian way to not do this, or you Catholic or whatever, with
mm-hmm,
picket fences outside of the clinic. I feel like that's invasive. How dare you show up somewhere where I
yeah,
want to, do something for my body and shame you for it? I think that's
yeah,
dumb. We don't see nobody picketing at Weight Watchers.
right, right, right,
You know,
right,
what if people were so against you losing weight? How dare you want to be skinny?
right,
How dare you want to be
yeah,
healthy? And who's to say if someone is bigger, they're not healthy? We are all made
right,
different. But when it comes to abortion, I feel like there needs to be widespread groups of therapy for women who have experienced an abortion, women processing through therapy after experiencing abortion, just like there is that group for rape, just like there is
mm,
that group for
mm, yeah,
child molestation or child predators. I feel like people go so hard in an ignorant way for the wrong thing.
yeah. But you know why I think that people do that? I think the argument against it is always like it's always a political thing, right? It's always like, it's not really taken seriously the way that it should be. Because if it was, I think we actually would have done a much better job of where it is right now.
Hmm.
So when I see the ads that they have for just like that, I think there's been a couple of times where Republicans have tried to do these ads where they no, it was an ad. They were bringing people on, like, let's say CNN, to do an interview about abortion. So this one lady was talking about how her mom was raped, and her mom decided that she could not give up her child because she just felt strongly that how could she have, you know how could she have a child, um I mean, how could she give up a child that
Hmm.
didn't do anything that to get here? Like, it just was
Yeah.
here. She impregnated, whatever, right? So at the time, the narrative on for the Republicans was, the regrets. They were talking about
Hmm.
the regrets and things like that. And then for the liberals, they'd be like, "You're trying to just take away our rights." So it's like it's such a slippery slope because the Republicans, they're using the emotional part of it, which is important, right?
Hmm.
But they're the underneath it is really a bunch of nefarious shit. So
Yeah.
even when the conversation needs to be serious, because when you start asking questions like, okay, so we're gonna keep what if we don't, what if we ban abortions? What are we gonna do for the women? Are all these women that are gonna have these children? What plans do we have in place? How
Right.
do we support them? Anything? Education? Do we give them waive their student debt? Do what all these things? We ask these questions. They're like, no, we're not with that. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about
Yeah.
life here, and
You're
it's like
basically criminalizing
life.
sex, and the fact that you wanted to bring about, well, you're bringing about a life, no matter what your
Right,
choice is or why your choice is your choice. you're you're
right,
you're you're punishing people for having sex, when in reality a lot of politicians have sex outside of their
yes,
marriages that look pretty for
yes,
TV, and they are quick to have an
yes,
abortion. And if that lady does not want to have an abortion, you could find her body somewhere, or you probably won't find her
yes,
body. And I hate that we're acting like these things don't happen.
right, right, and because it's such a everybody's protecting some kind of agenda.
Yeah.
And it's like that Marjorie Taylor lady or whatever. I was thinking about this today. I was like, you know what? For all the shit that she says she really care about, these
Yeah.
QAnon people, y'all
Yeah.
really care about these kids? Where is the law that she's putting in place to do something about trafficking in Georgia? I ain't heard her
Nowhere.
talk about none of that shit. She ain't said
Nowhere.
a word about a law to do anything about trafficking in
Not even a
Georgia.
policy.
Not nothing,
Because
nothing.
we know, you, I, people with common sense know
Yeah.
that any type of sex trafficking, child trafficking, drug trafficking cannot go on this far, this long, unless the government is getting a cut.
Yeah.
There's no way. There's no way
Yeah.
that you can be like, oh, I don't know where all these kids came from, or I don't know where
Right.
all these why these kids
Right.
missing, or I don't know,
Yes.
why this is not publicized, or it's just crazy these numbers. There are
Yeah.
systems put in place. This even down to this policy of you cannot report a person missing until 48 hours. Why is that in place?
Because they don't want to spend the money and they're lazy. That's the only thing that makes any sense. I
But
don't know.
let it be an officer or a judge's child.
Oh,
Everybody
they're
on
gonna
top of
find
that
a. Oh, they
ASAP.
are. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah,
And
yeah.
and to me it's kind of like, if you're going to say you care about the people, don't bullshit me. If you're going to
Yeah.
say you care about our citizens' children, don't bullshit me. But you are bullshitting me when you allow some counties to have their kids go back to
Mm-hmm.
a public school physically, and
Mm,
you allow
mm,
other counties to do virtual for their
yeah.
safety. So you're
Yeah.
saying that this school over here and this district over here and these parents over here all voted at City Hall to gamble on their child's lives to have them in the classroom because they don't want to be at home. Not they can't be at home, because if I can,
Mm,
and I don't live in a district where my child has to physically be in a classroom, I know they can.
right.
Some people don't want to take on that responsibility of parenting and teaching their children at home. They want somebody else
Right.
to do it because they feel like they made enough money, they pay enough
Right.
taxes for somebody else to have to do that shit. And
Yeah.
to me, I feel like all these jobs that are being able to be done at home, the job that I will be starting next week that can be done at home, that was done in
Right.
a big building, that you're using all this electricity, all these resources, people spending $15 every day to have lunch so they could be at work instead of
Oh
being
my
in their
gosh.
homes. Imagine how much money and resources are being saved right now with people being in their homes.
Right.
And to
Right.
me, if I can guarantee in a better way at a higher percentage my child not having a stomach virus that she would get from school, not having a cold
Mm-hmm.
that she would get from school,
Mm,
because we all know kids
mm,
are nasty. What is the
mm-hmm.
problem? What was the problem before on this cracking down on driving so much and so much traffic and cars
Yes.
being on the road, where we could have done
Yeah.
these jobs at home? But all of a
Yeah.
sudden this pandemic comes and now we can do it.
Right. Yeah.
My
Yeah.
child is healthier at home. They haven't had a cold in over a
Yes.
year. Nobody
Yes. I'm
has had a
telling you.
stomach virus.
Let me tell you something that is so true, because in 2018, was it 2018, 19, 19? Yes. 2018, after the Parkland shooting, we
Mhm.
put all of our kids in homeschool from the 2018 to 2019 school year. Now, I'm not going to lie, girl, I was so stressed,
Oh my
so
God.
stressed out. I was so damn stressed out, girl. Let me tell you, they was
Yeah.
failing every goddamn. I'm like, why am I getting it? Who is it? Wait,
Yeah.
because the baby, he had his life together, because he was
Yeah.
just like, okay, because Kevin was with him, I would check on him, whatever. We could watch him. The other three were
Yeah.
like, y'all old enough, come on, just get the computer, y'all at the computer, this is
They
your
feel like
life,
they on
this is your
vacay. They in
this
there with
right,
their hands on
girl.
their head, like,
You know what I'm
ugh,
saying? I was
we
like, this
got
is your
home.
generation. This technology is yours. Y'all supposed to be able to get in here and do this like it's
Yeah.
nobody's business, right?
Yeah.
Because when we was in school, they started introducing us doing our work on computers. So
Mm-hmm.
these kids have been on computers and tablets since they were little kids or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, that shit every semester during the November break,
Mm-hmm.
we ended up having to catch up. But in all of that though, that was a year we went vegan that year too. That was the year we
Wow.
went vegan, which that
Y'all was just
that
in there
purge,
angry trying to learn shit.
girl, girl. Let me tell you, we were like, it was actually. Let me say this: we all had a lot more energy.
Yeah.
Like, but everybody was going to the bathroom. That purge is so serious when you transition
Ooh.
from everything. So they was like, it came in like, but that whole year they didn't have any colds, they didn't have any stomach virus, like you said, they didn't have any ear infections, nothing. They were so like, they were just, oh, not just not that they did vegan stuff because they did purge bad. I was like, I kept taking to the doctor, like, is what's going on here? They're like, they're just purging whatever's going, you know. But honestly, they were healthy that whole year. And we got closer as a family. We spent more time as a family. You know, it was just healthier, just mentally too, for them. You know, so that's another thing. The fact that I like that you brought up the pandemic as being, you know, a situation that comes with so many challenges, because if this is the new normal, which they're saying that this is going to be kind of the new normal, because the virus is going to be around for a long time. It keeps mutating and shit. They got the vaccine. Now they're going to do another vaccine. Girl,
Mr. Fucci said, I don't even want to call him a doctor because he getting on my goddamn nerves. Mr. Fucci said that by spring, summer, we will be vaccinating your kids.
That's what they expect. They do expect for it to get, they said they're trying to make sure that by fall, we don't have the same kind of fall or worse than the one we had this year. But I'm thinking like, even with the pandemic and this changing everything, then that's even another that adds to another opportunity for people to have the conversation, right? Okay, how do we deal with a mother who gets the virus and then dies and the child survives? Like, there's so many conversations that just have to be had that they ain't taken seriously. They're just like, you know,
if you could freely give people EBT and boost and public assistance, are you giving people life insurance? Because I feel like that's something that should go hand in hand. If people cannot protect the fact that their children would have, especially if they have children, if they lose a life, are you giving me life insurance, whole life insurance, not no term life shit, some whole life insurance? And you're not, because employers don't value your life. And the school system and this government has a lot of parents deciding, do I want to be a good employee or do I want to be a good parent? And I don't feel like that should be the gamble. I don't want to gamble on my child's health for the sake of me being able to get a paycheck.
And that, for the teachers, people don't realize teachers have children. You know, in this call, I think if they were going to do anything, what they should have done is focus on the special needs of parents. And if they needed to bring them in for school or something like that, if they felt like they needed to have a way for them, because they are saying that the kids are struggling right now. But that's because it's 2021. Shouldn't we just be far advanced anyway? Like, shouldn't this be the norm? Shouldn't our kids have been prepared since they've been using this technology? Like,
it's kids that have never been in front of a laptop until this virtual, which is wrong. It's this is the epitome of, damn, we should have changed the curriculum a long time ago. Because I feel like kids do not have to sit in front of a computer for 8 hours of the day to get the lesson. At the most, they should be there for a max of 4 hours to knock out what they're doing. Because my 7-year-old's homework is math homework, name, date, day, assignment, math. 3 + 4 = such and such. 4 + 3 = such and such. I'm done. Ma'am, when I was your age, I had a whole sheet of 30 problems. They're not learning anything. They're not getting anything of substance. Her writing work is 2 questions that she answers in a very sloppy way and wastes a whole sheet of paper. I'm done. Where's my iPad? They're not learning anything. So on top of what she gets for her schoolwork, I have to turn around and give her more work. I shouldn't have to do that.
And you know what? I think that needs to happen, though. I really do believe this. I believe that we need to, I think corporations should make a decision to slow down their productivity. I know we need to crank out as much as possible, but when you think about mental health in this country, which is out of control. There are so many undiagnosed people out here.
I just read an article where a guy pulled out his gun and had it on somebody that refused to put on their mask in a Dollar General.
You see what I'm talking about? You see what I'm talking about?
Would you get
You
what
see
you
what I'm
need to
talking
get
about?
for $1 and be gone, sir?
Girl, but first of all, why are you that close? What happened to your 6 feet? You supposed to be 6 feet away with the mask on. How you feel? You
I
crazy. You hear what I'm
just,
saying? Crazy. You hear what I'm saying? Like, people need to, it's unfortunate that our government and our history has had a very negative relationship with mental health in this country. It has been a horror story.
yeah.
But now that we've learned, now that we know about that, let's learn from it and let's make a better healthcare system for people's mental health. Because if your brain ain't together,
I don't think
you're gonna have 5, 6, 20
we'll
kids
ever
with
get
abortions.
at least 90% of where we need to be on mental health in this country until the 50-year-olds, the 60-year-olds that are making millions for salaries get
Billions
removed out of
these days.
government, because that same mindset that they grew up on is the same mindset that they have about mental health. And back in the
Yeah,
day, they didn't believe
you're
people
right.
had a real issue. If you can fully function and drive and get yourself to work and cook for yourself,
You're right.
ain't nothing wrong with you. They only believe that people were supposed to be in mental institutes if you just could not function like the rest of us. And that is not true. People are functioning addicts. People are functioning narcissists that should not be teaching, should not have a badge,
Yeah,
shouldn't be giving people sentences in courtrooms.
yeah,
People are out here living on their
yeah,
ego. People
yeah,
are out here not sleeping, but
yeah.
driving children to school because their parents don't want to have them at home. When you have
Yeah.
parents picketing outside, let our kids go back to school. Let our
Mm-mm.
kids go back to school.
Mm-mm.
What do you do for work, ma'am? Oh, I'm a stay at home mom. Ma'am, go
Yeah.
home.
Go
Go
home and take the
home.
kids with you. Take them, just pack them up in the car. Stop doing this. You know what it is? This is what it, I know I always come back to this. We're always gonna just go circle around right and back to it.
Welcome back.
It's always going to be a matter of white supremacy. And I'll tell you why. And I'll say this because somebody asked me, like, does it have to be about this all the time, Eruth? And I'm like, you know what? I don't know. I don't know that it is until it gets there. And I'm like, oh, I see it now. Because the argument about abortion has been, and before people started learning about Margaret Sanger, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was that we started to understand that the argument was really for the survival of the white race, right? They don't really care about how many abortions Black women are having. They
Yeah.
don't really care because now we learned that Margaret Sanger was basically trying to make sure she can depopulate the Black population.
Yeah.
So we have that history to know that. Until this day, that's still the argument. It's still for making sure this is survival of the white race, and we don't give any two shits about what happens to Black people and the abortion. But now that Black people are starting to learn that history, I think where it's being warped is that Black people are looking at it only in the scope of the horror that was being done to us, versus looking at it for what it is now,
Mm-hmm.
which is, we don't have to make that political argument. We need to make the character argument, right? The moral argument, which was what you were talking about. Like, just being able to think, just the fact that people don't even think about their purpose of, well, what is my child going to do? Okay, what is my plan for this child? Okay, what's going to happen when I die? What,
Mm-hmm.
how is this child going to carry on the gene, like our lineage? None
Mm-hmm.
of those questions are even asked because our society is not designed for that. It's
Yeah.
designed for, I'm going to put you as a Black person, you as a white person, you as a brown person, you as a yellow person, or whatever colors you are in your prospective places. Then you have to then all have this same religion, or at least be confined to these particular religions we'll accept.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else, we don't even recognize y'all. Then when your kids are going to be divided into these school systems, and then we want to make sure we can control population here, 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 and here. And people have to start looking at it for what it is, which is, yeah, there is a population control with abortions, but there's also, if you take the white supremacy stuff out of there and you just apply the human part of it, which is, I still have to raise another person to
Yeah.
hopefully be a good person in this world, and hopefully does not be a like destroyer, a murderer that's going or serial killer. I'm hoping I can raise somebody well. Nobody's having like these deeper questions, these deeper conversations, because America don't do that. We don't do that here. We just look for money. We make sure that we keep up with the Joneses, and that's what's important to us. And so when I hear these people talking about pro-life this, pro-life that, but they want to wear masks, I'm like, this is all just cosmetic shit. Y'all nobody's serious. Nobody's serious. Because they're not having conversations like this. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's if it was women need resources everywhere, we would see a Planned Parenthood in Buckhead. We would see a Planned Parenthood in Alpharetta. We would see, these are hard times. People need another way other than going to banks to cash their check. We would see check cash in places next to Lenox Mall.
Yeah.
Next is getting very ghetto, by the way.
Oh,
we would see, people are stressed. They need more alcohol. We would see package stores in Alpharetta and not cute wine shops.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, there's a reason why you do it. Because if you was really about everybody having the resources and having healthy things to eat, primarily Black areas that are poor wouldn't have Piccadillys that you could smell from the parking lot. I don't understand why that store is still open. I don't understand why they're allowed to sell what they get to sell out of that store. But the thing is, America, instead of them fix the issue and create healthier lives for everyone, they want to make money off of the fact that you can't. They want to make a profit off of the fact that you are poor. How can we make a profit off of the fact that they're poor? Let's put all the expired food into their bodegas because they're open longer. They're going to be hungry. The grocery stores are going to be skim. They're not going to have everything that they get to see on TV. And they're going to have to shop here if they want to eat something. They do that on purpose.
Fudged up.
They do it on purpose. And then... Listen, yesterday, I was in my living room minding my business. I told my 7-year-old to go take a shower. She took a shower. She came out here. She was on the iPad. She was chilling. I was recording. I was knocking out episodes. And then this must filled my living room. This must filled my second living room. This must met me in the kitchen. And I said,
oh no.
I said, Anya, did you put on deodorant? Yeah, I did. I said, okay, Anya, come here so I can smell your underarms. Oh, I think I forgot. Let me go put some on. Why is my 7-year-old's underarms humming?
Yeah.
I didn't get deodorant until I was 12, 13, 14. And that's when I needed it. But our food is changing. Our children have way more access than they need to. When I was 7, I wasn't worried about a gadget. I wasn't worried about the internet. I didn't have access to the internet. I wasn't worried about having an iPhone. I didn't get a cell phone until I was 16. Kids have cell phones at 6.
Girl,
so that tells me we can't teach these kids the same. We can't hide information from them the same. And they have access to so much that you can't say, oh, they need to stay in a child's place, because childlike things are no longer their lifestyle. And I wish I could keep my kids little girls for the longest, but I really can't. Anya's already at an age where she's like, don't take no pictures of me. I'm ugly. I don't want to be in no pictures.
Oh.
And so I'm just like, well, how do I fight this to make her comfortable within her skin? At 7, I felt like that was something I was going to have to deal with when she was in middle school. So it's just different now. And I think we have to attack it different. We have to be open about it. I explained to Anya what abortion was 2 weeks ago, just because she asked me, how many people there are in the world. And then the conversation kept going and going and going. And I think we have to, in order to stop the shame that is abortion today, we have to stop making the discussion that children want to have, young girls want to have, boys want to have, but they don't want to have it with their mom or they don't want to have it with their dad,
Mm,
feels
mm,
shameful. So when
yeah.
she asks me adult like questions like that, I give her a very non-visual answer,
Mm,
where she can have the honest answer, but she doesn't. It doesn't have to be really graphic. And I think a
right.
lot of the times when I was little, being the only girl and the youngest, and having all these brothers that were older that were doing whatever
Yeah.
they wanted, my mom felt like she didn't have the sex talk with me because like I possibly overheard it enough from all my other
Mm,
brothers.
mm,
She knows, like
mm.
I guess she felt like she knows or she heard or she's smart. I don't have to
Yeah.
have that with her. My mom never talked to me about birth control. I've never taken birth
Mm,
control. I'm 33. I've never had an abortion. I have taken a plan B though, because
mm-hmm,
I was still in college. It was an accident. We were using protection. It broke. And I
mm,
just couldn't visualize myself being pregnant by someone that I've never had an argument with yet. And I was
mm.
like, listen, my gown for this school is already purple. I don't need to go in there and look like Barney. So this is not going to be a thing. So when it comes to having the discussions of what's out there, what you can take, what it will actually do to your body, because a
Mm,
lot of times what men be like, oh, just take this so we don't have to worry about a baby, or just take that, or just do this so we don't have to worry about a baby. They don't care anything about what it does to a woman's body.
yeah.
They don't care what mood swings you go to, the weight you gain, the
Yeah.
headaches you get, the ways you get heavy periods and you feel uncomfortable. You want to be happy, but your
Yes.
body is telling you no.
Yeah.
No, I feel like shit.
Yeah.
So we're all going to feel like shit today. And you expect me to come into work and meet these crazy metrics, or be at home and have multiple kids, and you know it's a pandemic, and you want me to meet
Yeah.
these crazy metrics and turn
Yeah.
double the work in that I would do in an office
Right.
while you're at home with your family chilling as like
Right.
an executive or a district manager or whoever you are, is
Yeah.
unreasonable,
Yeah.
is lack of compassion. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
in order to not stress yourself, you have to get to a point where you know where your boundary is with people, their opinions and their shit, and tell them,
Yeah.
hey, this is my life over here. This is what I
Yeah.
can do for you. If you want anything else, you don't want me. And but
Yeah.
also with the you don't want me is the gamble of the fact that be like, okay, I don't want you. And you have to
Mm.
live in that. You have to live in the fact that
Yeah.
you took a stance for yourself and somebody is
Yeah.
taking a stance for their business. And you have to
Yeah.
figure out, can you work in places where you feel respected? Or do you want to work
Mm.
in a place where you feel disrespected but you get a check? And that's what it
Right.
was for me. And a few years ago, when I left my
Yeah.
job, they basically wanted me to pick, do I want to be a good mother to my kids and be there?
Mm.
Or do I want to come to work and be on time?
Mm.
And I was like, I can't be here because y'all not bending for the schedule and the time that I need in order to mother the way that I needed to do.
Mm.
Where you could do,
Yeah.
because now you doing it. Now you call me
Right.
out the blue and you want me back. And now I'm gonna be
Right.
working for this company for the next 6 months from my house comfortably. You sent me all the
Yeah.
equipment. You got my
Right.
neighbors wondering if I'm selling drugs or pussy, having all these
Oh
packages
no.
coming to my house. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, y'all could have did this a long time ago, but you just didn't
Yeah.
want to. And that's the
Yeah.
reality of these corporations. I'm not excited about y'all saying, oh, you're going to be able to get your pension, you're going to have your retirement. When you're this age, you'll be able to touch the money that you worked so hard for all these years. I'm not excited about that because I don't have a 30-year story that I'm trying to have for this job,
Right.
because
Right.
this
Right.
job
Right.
is
Right.
not my goal. It's not.
Destination. Yeah.
Yeah, this is your thing. This is your
Yes.
generational money
Right.
for your company, because
Right.
I'm not on no big $1 million salary like you.
Right.
And that's where we have
Exactly.
to understand, take back your time and
Yeah.
stop allowing outside people to have opinions on your body. And if you do have
Yeah.
a kid, or if you do take birth control or you don't, figure out and do your own research. And we have to stop being
Yeah.
lazy when we have all these resources at our
Yeah.
fingertips.
Yeah. Yeah. And being okay with knowing that whatever the decision is, that you have to live, you're gonna have to live with it.
Yeah.
It's there is going to be a time where if you make that choice because of whatever the conditions are of your circumstance, you're like, well, I don't really, ooh, because you know what, I plan on going getting that dress. I mean, some of this stuff is like, again, very cosmetic. It's very
Yeah.
like very related in vanity. And I can't say that someone is wrong for that, because that's that person's character right there. And then maybe they haven't gone through the lessons they need to go through in order for them to realize that it was time for them to grow up and then
Mm-hmm.
make the better decision where they actually say, okay, I'm going to be a responsible adult. And if this situation goes down, I'm going to move on and have this baby or not.
Yeah.
But at least at least people have the freedom to be that way. But on
Mm-hmm.
the other side of it, like, there just has to be a balance to all of it. And that's why I think that it's so ugly when it comes down to this conversation about abortion, when it comes down to passing laws and policies about abortion, why it's diminished to such a level that doesn't really help anybody, right?
Yeah.
When it gets to the politics, just the emotional part of it, which is important. When I hear the emotional part of it, or there was like the thing that was there was a video, some crazy shit that was being circulated a couple years ago, maybe like
Mm-hmm.
3-4 years ago, with the babe, them showing like what happens with the embryo. And
Yeah.
it was so much. And I know for me, like, I don't have a problem with calling it what I think it is. And to me, I call it, I do believe it is murdering a fetus.
For
But
Eruth.
at this,
But
for
you don't
me,
speak for everybody. And that's what people need to
exactly.
understand. We're not
Yes.
throwing dirt on your decision. So
Yes.
for me, before I knew what went into pregnancy, I was like, I'm gonna have me 13 boys. I'm gonna have me a whole football field of boys. We're gonna be chilling. It's gonna be all this rough stuff.
Hmm.
The Lord came through with a girl.
Mm, yeah.
And every month of those 9 months was hell because I had a different symptom that was uncomfortable. Then
Mm.
the
Did you have
Lord saw,
hypermesis
huh?
gravidum? Did you have hypermesis gravidum?
No,
The vomiting, the okay. I
no.
had that. That was my
I
hell.
had the want to vomit, but nothing would come.
Oh
So
girl, I was
imagine
chucking
eating all the
everything.
things that you wanted to
Mm.
eat and you felt like you wanted to vomit or you couldn't, it didn't taste right. It had an aftertaste. And I had
Oh my gosh.
I had acid reflux my first trimester the whole time.
Oh my
And
gosh.
then, you know, I have this person that's like my person since I was 18, up until my 30s. And the Lord was like, all right, y'all been loose fucking out here. Y'all been fucking wherever y'all want. Y'all been fucking out of state,
Yeah.
in state, what, all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Y'all not finding an ending to this. Y'all thinking this is just some lifetime thing. Welcome to lifetime.
Yeah.
Man, let
Yeah.
me park both of y'all since y'all can't park yourselves. And
Yeah.
he was like, all right, you pregnant. And I was like,
Yeah.
all right, I'm pregnant. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is my boy. Maybe I can put a stop to this. The nurse called me and was like, all right, it's girl. I cussed her out at work. I was in a meeting. Everybody heard. And I was just like, don't talk to me.
Yeah.
Then I knew I'm done having kids. I'm not having no more because the Lord tried to play me. And I'd be damned if I have a third girl. So I know for me now, I'm not having any
Yeah.
more kids. Like, if I could put
Yeah.
my whole womb on eBay, I would
Yeah.
do that right now. Like, I'm
Yeah.
good. But
Yeah.
I can honestly say if I did not have Anya when I had Anya, I would never have kids because
Mm.
Anya was such a easy child, a easy baby that it made me feel like,
Mm.
oh, this is not
Too
bad.
bad. Yeah.
I had
Yeah.
Ari. Ari was like a terrorist. I was like, Osama bin Laden just came out of me and she in my house and I gotta feed her. I gotta change my
Yeah.
diapers. I'm just like, I'm about to put her on the carport, come pick her up.
Yeah.
But you can't plan any of this. You can have an
Yeah.
idea in your mind, but you can't plan any of this. I'm not
Yeah.
saying I don't like being a mother. I like being a mother, but
Yeah.
being a mother is not me entirely. And that is why
Right.
I put the post up, because people have this illusion of, oh, I used to go to school with her. She was very into like design, art, fashion design. She was going to do this and this, but she's doing this now and she's a mom now.
Mm.
No, ma'am. No, sir. I am all of these
Yeah.
things. You can still send
Yeah.
me artwork. I love to look at
Yeah.
it. You can still send me footwear. I love to look at it. Architecture. I love to look at it. I
Yeah.
am all of these things still.
Right.
But priority wise, I knew what I wanted to do as a career. What I will do as a career is very selfish. And
Yeah.
I've seen my mom take care of a lot of wealthy people's children that had great careers, that
Mm.
felt like if I could pay for a nanny, I'm going to pay for a nanny
Mm.
and I'm going to have my career
Mm.
too. But I also
Yeah.
saw my mom be at home with their children and see their child's first walk. I also saw my mom
Mm.
be loved on as the mother. And I said to
Mm.
myself, I'd be damned if I pick a
Mm.
career and have my child have the bond of somebody else being their mom
Mm.
or somebody else being their dad. So I just knew,
Yeah.
like, if I had kids before the career that I aim for, I could put that on
Yeah.
pause. That could be
Yeah.
put on pause. And I feel like this race of getting it all done and being this accomplished and having this to say by this age, which I did have in my 20s, it's an
Right.
illusion. It's an illusion because a lot of people spent all their time going to the quote unquote best schools and getting the right internships and working for the best jobs. And now they're like in their late 30s or their 40s and they can't have the family that they wanted to have because
Yeah.
of whatever reason. And my thing is
Yeah.
like, you're going to get to a point where you have to make a decision. Do I want this career, these things, or do I actually want something of substance that can give back to me longevity wise? And I
Yeah.
chose to create a family and raise my family in my way. And then
Yeah.
once they are able to stand and walk on their own, we can all do something else.
Yes, exactly. And I think people don't think about that. And, for me, the reason why I wanted to touch on like the fact that like how I was seeing abortion for myself, right? Just
Mm-hmm.
going like think about the fact that for me, I'm like, okay, if I do this, this is going to be like a murder for me. It's going to be a loss, something I can't regain, the guilt of it, right? Like from in my process of things are always like, what is the consequence going to be for me? What am I going to be thinking about? What kind of burden am I going to be able to
Facts.
carry? And so and that's why I say for me, not rather than everybody else, because I don't want to put it out there for anybody else who disagrees that their position is wrong, because I feel like
Mm-hmm.
it's just the way that you look at it.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like for people who are like that, people who think like, oh my gosh, if I do this, and they think of it like as a literal thing to them, I guess I could say I'm more so literal. It can be literal. If they
Mm-hmm.
think of it as a literal thing for them to say, doing this act is going to mean that I am actually causing this life that's going, what could be forming into a human being. I'm stopping this. I'm getting that deep in my thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I get that deep in my thought about it, I say that to say that if people who feel that way when they're thinking about making this decision, and it's so strong, it hits them so strongly that they're like, I just keep going back to this feeling like this is going to make me feel so bad. I'm going to have so much guilt. That is something that is helping you to actually make the decision to say, you know what? Yes. You know what? I have the outcome of where I'm going. If I keep this child, it's not going to be nearly as bad as the outcome of the guilt that I'm going to feel, the
Girl,
mental health that I'm going to have to deal with if I make this decision. So people have to be okay with, like, if you feel like that, don't let anybody else come in your mind and tell you something else. You got to listen to you first,
what's the statute of limitations? Because
girl.
I said, I said to myself, Jean Paul, if you go ahead and you go against your grain and you
Yeah.
go, get rid of this kid, you're
Yeah.
going to hate him for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Your
Yes.
friendship or whatever was there, it will be no more. And you probably put a hit out on this man behind
Yes.
making you have to make decision alone.
Yes.
And so I was like, it's a no for me, bro. So I
Yes.
feel like I saved 3 lives in my decision in order to give you a beautiful baby girl that's going to love you
Yes.
to death, because she does love you to death. Okay.
Yes.
Um, and I felt like that needed to happen in order for us to get the reality of what our relationship is. And our relationship is,
Yeah.
there is nothing else that you can do for me but be a great dad to our kid.
Yeah.
I said, Lord, look at you coming in here and cleaning up shop.
Okay. Okay. And that is got to be okay. We have got to be
Yeah.
okay with us having the conversations like this openly, and allowing people to, even like, even when hearing those stories, I was like, I feel you. Cause like we said, we know people in our lives who have had plenty of them.
Yeah.
And you hear the guilt, you hear the regret, you hear all those different things, but you never hear anybody talk about it or put it in a place where other women can hear it. And it's not a judgment thing, because I feel
Mm-hmm.
the same way. Like, listen, if you have to make that decision, I'm gonna support you too. You know,
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, like, girl, did you think about this? What about this? You
Mm-hmm.
thought about that? Did you
Mm-hmm.
think about, well, did you think about this too? And then I'm like, okay, well,
Right.
if you thought about it,
Because
then
my friends was
hey.
like, when I told them I was pregnant with Anya, they was looking at me like, you? Like,
You
you're like,
yeah.
you're so goofy, you're so kiddie, you have all these plans, you work 3 jobs, you're in New
Yeah.
York, you're doing your thing. So you gonna stop all of this for having
Yeah.
a kid with somebody you don't even want to be in a relationship with. And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
knew what I was doing. This is
Yeah.
what's, happening, and this is what I'm doing. So I think a lot of times with me being bold enough to try a lot of things, with my
Yeah.
personality, even to my best friends, they're scared about how well I adjust to my decisions. A lot of
Mm,
people will push their fear on you,
yeah.
especially when something comes out like life changing, like having a child,
Yes.
and be like, oh, it's going to be hard for you. You're not going to be able to do
Yes.
this. You're not going to be able to that. You'll never this. You'll never that. And that's all a
Yes.
lie. All of that depends on your confidence and your willpower to be your
Yes.
greatest self. So,
Yes.
what I'm saying to sum this all up for me is, be within your choice, take your time, make your choice, but make
Yeah.
sure you also take the pros and cons of the choices that you make in everything. And it's not just
Yes.
abortion, it's everything, because
Yes.
children do not ask to be here, like Eruth said. They don't ask to
Yes.
be here, but once they're here, your duty and your priority is to make sure that their lives are better than yours, and they're
Yeah.
put in place to be their greatest selves while you
Yes.
balance all your adult stuff, because your adult stuff is why they got here.
Yep. 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 Right there. Right
No.
there. Yes.
Do you have anything else to say before we get up out of here?
You know what? I enjoy this conversation because I hope other people will too. I hope that they'll think about themselves in it. I hope
Yeah.
they'll think about their sisters or their mothers or whoever it is that they've had heard these stories, or, and really just keep thinking as broadly as possible. It doesn't have to be a horrendous, just very uncomfortable conversation, because it's a reality,
Right.
and so I hope nobody takes this as any judgments at all,
Yeah.
because it's easy to get there. Because I remember when we first started talking, I was like, okay, how judgmental are we going to sound? Like, how do we sound judgmental or not? But I realized that the fact that women, this was the most interesting thing, that those who were listening came forward and said, yes, like, this has happened to me,
Mm-hmm.
this is how I feel, that was such a beautiful thing, that conversation was able to be had and be opened up, and that women were telling the truth, all of
Yeah.
us were telling the truth,
Yeah.
in our different perspectives. So I say, just like, it's a amazing time to be a Black lady. That's all I got to say.
That's a fact.
Cause Chance,
And
awesome.
before I get out of here, let me say this for people who say, "Oh, you should have waited. You should have found a great man. You should have got married, and you should have had a family." Married women get abortions too. Like,
Yes.
What are we talking about right now?
Yes.
What are we talking about right now? Because I know a lot of people who I've worked with, went to school with, that are in marriages with multiple kids, and all the husband does is work, wear the ring, come home, and lay in the side of the bed. They are in a marriage, and they are a single mother within the marriage. And I refuse. I refuse.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a conversation. That's another conversation to be had. That people don't realize that you can feel alone in a marriage. Been there, and it does happen. It's true, and it's real. People think that marriage solves everything. It don't. Yeah. Say that again.
We are gonna do that episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
definitely.
I've seen it in so many levels. I'm just like, it's a no for me, bro. It's a no for me.
Yeah. It's a communication thing. People don't realize how important. You hear people say that, it sounds so cliche, but it's real. People don't be telling the truth. People don't want to bear themselves for who they are, and they're afraid to hear what the response might be. Facts. But then we all out here keeping it 100, though nobody ain't really keeping it 100.
Listen, and women who can give birth to children but can't be mothers. That's another thing, because there's a lot of fathers out here being a mother and a father, and I love it. Yeah. But I also feel sorry about the burden of it.
Yeah.
But this was good, Eruth. Tell these people where to find you.
Well, you can find me on Stereo app.
Yes.
Stereo app. Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays mostly, but Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights, and we don't really have a time, but look out. If you could follow me on Stereo, or you can follow me on IG, the _looking glass 8384. And I also have a page on Facebook. I have one on YouTube, but don't visit that yet. It ain't too helpful. No, I didn't set it now. Shit.
Yes. Y'all already know where to find me.
Page anyway.
So I need not say that, but Eruth is going to be around. I will go and put her in the post. This episode will be up soon. Y'all already know me. But thank you, Eruth.
Thank you.
Always.
Glad
always
to be
a
here.
Treat. Always a treat. Yes.